Alright, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day. Once again, got us some Ficus Microcarpa. I have not visited this guy since mid-October. I did wire it up then. And it's going through kind of a second little growth spurt here of the spring. So I'm figuring it's time to go ahead, prune it all the way back, see how that wire's doing. I may wind up leaving it on there and just kind of letting it, back bite a little bit more and letting that really bite in. But since I really can't get in there and get a very good look at it right now, and so I'm going to prune it way back, take the wire off, and probably just allow it to be a tree for a little while. And then after it recovers from that, and again just goes through another little growth spurt or whatever, come back and get some wire on eventually. And alright, the wire is a little bit, but I really want to get these branches set. I want this thing to kind of turn out nice and gnarly and twisted for me. So I think I'll just go ahead and hang on to this part of the video and then just let it kind of really go wild through May and June, and then come in later in the summer and do some more wiring to it. Alright, and here we jump about a month ahead. I do believe today is May 13th. I think that other video was April 9th. And it's leafed back out. I always think they look so much more interesting when they leaf back out than right there at the end, just after a good pruning like that. So I figured I'd hang on to that first part of the video and show you a little update here. Alright, and today I'm just going to be taking the wire off. Alright, and so the wire's off there. And really I'm just going to, and I don't think I'll need clippers for these because these are just really small, weak branches. I won't try to cut, I'll try to not remove anything that I'm going to keep. But like all ficus do, this thing just kind of gets its little spurts off the bottom of branches and just out of some really wild spots that just wouldn't be good. So I just kind of pluck most of those off. Alright, and then a few of these trees I'm going to try to just stop leaving wire on them so constantly. I can tell that these branches have gotten kind of weak from having wire on there constantly, so I'll just kind of let it rest for a little while. I do plan on maybe pruning it a little more often. Usually, on a lot of these trees, especially just, the newer ones that I'm just starting to develop, it's actually not in a great spot there either. Some of the ones that I'm just starting to develop, try to start keeping the foliage a little bit more tame, but not wired a little bit, and just see how that works out. The other root over rock that I have that's just, well, this one's a little bit younger than this one. This one was actually over the same rock with that other one. And then I noticed that, it was just one of those things that the two trees in there really wasn't going to work out all that well. So I took this one out and put it on a rock by itself. Now, one thing is that because it had already developed the spread and I was able to just kind of fix it on the rock a little bit better, it actually is, a little more centered on there. Looks a little more, the other one's actually kind of got a little, gap in the stump and everything, which is, some of the stuff you try to avoid with a root over rock. You want to look like it, melted over the rock. But I have been thinking I wouldn't mind getting into a little bit of a wider and more shallow pot. But I think before I would ever even think about doing anything like that, I'd kind of test the waters here. All right, so I kind of tested it just a bit. And my plan was I was going to pull it up out of there and just kind of knock some of the old soil kind of under it, lift it up just a little bit, and then put a little fresh soil on top. This is actually potted in the old soil that I used to use. But as I was doing that, the screens were coming up with it. And you don't really want to, you know, if I did that and the screens came up with it and then I got soil under the screens, you know, you wind up almost enveloping the screens in the root ball, and that's just not good for long term. I mean, honestly, a ficus tree actually probably wouldn't affect the health of it or whatever. This thing could probably envelop a hubcap if it given enough time and everything, but still, I don't want them in there. Makes for better repots if it's just soil. So I got a little tub here, and I'm just going to pick it up out of there. Pretty good solid root ball there and everything. And get the screens off, and then put that older soil down at the bottom there. Dress it up a little on top. You know, I add some newer soil right around the edges there. But once I do that, that would kind of limit my movement to try to clean the rock. And since I did pull the rock up a little bit, you can see a little more algae and a little more was kind of developing there. Since I did have the chance to kind of pull it up and take a look at it, I actually was somewhat under the impression that maybe it was having some drainage issues, but it looks like it was draining just fine. I get conflicting ideas as to what this rock is here. I mean, I think it's coral rock. I saw somebody write an article that said there's no such thing as coral rock. But, I mean, I live in Cape Coral, and everywhere you dig around here, you find this rock. And as far as I know, everybody calls it coral rock. You know, I'm going to go ahead and mist the tree down too. I never mist my trees. I see a lot of people talk about, oh, I mist my tree every day. I never mist my trees, but I have actually. I've been keeping this little bottle of water in here with the intention of kind of misting some of my trees when I do the videos, just because they kind of do look a little bit better with that wet look. But I keep forgetting to do it. And we're heading into rainy season. Mother Nature should help me out quite a bit too. I did notice this side of the rock is much deeper than this side of the rock. This side of the rock kind of almost even really just stops right about there where my finger is. And of course that's where the tree is more centered over. Could be the reason why it did center itself over that way. It reached normal, you know, or reached soil first, where this way here it had to come all the way down the rock before it ever got any soil. you.